Namaste everyone, and welcome back to another session of Yoga with Stefano. Let's start in Virasana, sitting between our heels, and if you have a block or something that looks like it, you would benefit from sitting up on it. That would just lighten it up initially. Although if you're really stretchy, you got no issues with your knees and ankles, you can be in the full pose. We're going to be here breathing for a little bit of time, so it's essential that you're comfortable. We're not looking at doing much stretching at this stage. Relax the backs of your hands onto your thighs. Make sure your spine is nice and long. Draw your shoulders back and down. Let's start with two big breaths in, followed by big sighs. One more. And it's such a nice way to start the class. Let's just rest here, bring the focus onto your breath and move to complete yoga breathing if you remember how it's done. If not, I'll just guide you a little bit. Just start with the relaxation of the abdomen as you breathe in through the nose. Let the abdomen expand and keep inhaling through the rib cage all the way to the collarbones. Then you exhale through the nose from the tops of the lungs down into the rib cage and finally down into the abdomen. And then you release back to another cycle. This is called complete yoga breathing. Natural, relaxing breath, and a nice way to start and get into the yoga mode before we start focusing a little bit more on the poses and so on. So this class is going to be indoors for a change. And it's going to be focused on the core. So we often hear from yoga teachers, engage the core, or how important the core is. So while you're breathing, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going to happen with this class. It's going to be a lot of the same poses, but the focus is going to be a little bit more on strengthening those core muscles. So these muscles are muscles that wrap and protect our abdomen and spine. So from deep inside, there's very deep muscles. And they're quite essential for our well-being. They are protecting the spine and they are stabilizing the spine. So they make it less likely for us to withstand injuries. They keep us better supported. They make us stronger walkers. They make us stronger in every action we do. If you're into sports, they become quite essential, especially if there's some jumping and falling associated with your sport. It's important to really give some support and some stability to that spine, especially the lower back. And if you've been through an injury such as a disc injury, you might know that one of the only things you can do is just strengthening the core to basically improve and get better out of that injury. A couple of more breaths here, and we're going to get to discover our core abdominal muscles as we go. So the first thing we're going to do is to change the breath. So we're going to do a full inhalation and then we exhale without force. After the end of the exhalation, rather than inhaling, we exhale a little bit more and then a little bit more and then a little bit more. And as you're doing that, you're starting to feel the tightening of that belt that wraps around the spine at the bottom. That's your TA muscle there. It's quite important, one of the most important core abdominal muscles. And then we release and breathe in completely. And exhale. Another way to become aware of your core is to practice Uddiyana Bandha. It's a yoga lock. And it's equivalent to preparing yourself for a punch in the abdomen. So imagine that somebody wants to punch you and you draw on all those deep muscles. It's just the deep muscles, not the surface ones. If you accidentally engage the surface ones, you would be stooping forward slightly. So you just do this movement with a long and relaxed spine and you just feel the extra support that you get. We're going to do this a couple of times, resuming complete yoga breathing. At the end of the exhalation, we do a pause and engage these muscles. Uddiyana Bandha, release, breathe in, exhale, engage the bandha. Release one more time, full breath, and exhale and release, engage and release. Okay, so from here We're going to come up onto our knees and come onto all fours, hands on the floor. The hips are on top of our knees, shoulders are on top of our wrists, so double check your stance and fix it if needed. That block can come away, and probably best somewhere around the front of the mat where we might need it later. Let's do some cat-cow. Spread the fingers first, press into the knees evenly. Inhale, arch the spine, lifting collarbone and tailbone at the same time, gazing upwards without throwing the neck back. And as you exhale, press into the hands, round the whole spine, space between the shoulder blades, stretch the whole upper spine, the place between the shoulder blades, and then continue. Inhaling to an arch, stretching your abdominals, exhale, round and stretch your back. And one more time, inhale, exhale, back to neutral. So we're gonna shift it this way so I can demonstrate a little bit better. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna inhale to lift the right leg off the floor. We keep it parallel to the floor, so without lifting that right hip, just turn back and check that that right leg is aligned with the rest of the body. Give a rotation or two of the ankle either direction to warm it up. And pressing into the right hand, we're going to inhale and lift the left arm up. And now you're really long, just all the way from your fingertips of the left hand to the balls of the back foot. Feel the length there. Inhale deeply. Exhale, round the spine. Connect the right knee with the left elbow. Inhale to lengthen. And with your breath, a few times, exhale to round your back and link that knee with the elbow. And inhale to stretch and lift. And as we're doing this, whenever we are actually lifting any part of the body off the floor, normally we recruit to some extent our core abdominal muscles, and that's probably happening here. I want you to just be a little bit aware of it. And next time we are in the stretch, we pause there and then we exhale to bring the left hand to the floor. Keep the right leg up. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep that right leg over to your left and behind. The toes come to the floor about 45 degrees behind you. Turn back to gaze at the back foot. The hip should be level. Feel the stretch on your right side and the squeeze on the left. And then we inhale back to center and keep that right leg up, and then the left arm come up. This time we bend the back knee. Inhale here, and as we exhale, we sweep the left arm over to the left and we try and catch the back foot from the little toe side. And then we just reopen that pose, bringing the top shoulder roughly on top of the bottom shoulder, and as we press with the foot into the hand, try to maintain tension in that left arm, feeling a little bit of a quad stretch. And then as we exhale, we bring the torso back to center, left hand back to the floor, the right leg stays up. Inhale here. This time as you exhale, you sweep that right leg to the right, you place the sole of the right foot onto the floor, toes pointing forward, and then you walk the left hand to the outside of the left knee. Inhale and lift the right arm up. Now we are in a knee supported side plank, and you can enjoy it here, or you can, if you like, step the left foot in front of the right, and as long as you can keep those hips nice and high, not sinking, not straining, you can take the top arm overhead and you can follow the top hand with your gaze for a little bit of balance. And then we inhale, bringing the right hand back to the right hip bone, bending the left knee to bring it back to the floor. Inhale to lift to a vertical spine. Wrap the left arm around the back. Lift the right arm over the right leg. Exhale, extend the torso over the right leg. Exhale, right arm comes down. Inhale, left arm goes up, arm over arm. And we're just trying to stretch a little bit with the inside of that right hip rather than bending at the spine. Inhale, spine comes back to neutral, arms down, and right knee comes back to be under the right hip. Back onto all fours, and we're going to do this on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, but without lifting it any higher than your torso and your pelvis. Next inhalation, the right arm lifts up. And just feel an imaginary pull from your fingertips and from your toes. Inhale here. Exhale. Round the back. Elbow and knee come together. And a few times with your breath. And this is nice and warming, so a good way to warm up, and uses the core quite a bit, as well as a bit of the left shoulder in this case. And next time you extend, you pause there, and then you exhale, bringing the right hand back to the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep that left leg over to the right, toes on the floor, turn back to gaze at the back foot. Rather than collapsing onto your right side, try and keep those hips level. And then inhale, that leg back to center. The torso also comes back to center. One more time. It's that right arm that comes up. Bend the back knee. Exhale, sweep the right arm over to your right. Get a hold of the back foot. And just open up the torso a little bit more to your right side. You don't want to be facing the floor. You want to be facing the right side with the torso. Exhale. Right hand comes back to center. The torso faces forward. That left leg stays up. Inhale here. Sweep that left leg on exhalation to your left. And place the sole onto the floor. Walking the right hand to the outside of the right knee. Pressing that hand. Inhale. Lift the left arm up. And then variation of your choice. You can stay here, or you can step the right foot in front of the left. If you can do that without straining, without excessive effort. Left arm goes overhead, gaze at the top hand. And just, as always, should be done without excessive effort, so no shaking. You shouldn't feel like this is your ultimate effort. Otherwise, if that's the case, bring your knee to the floor. Everyone exhales, left hand to the left hip bone, right knee back to the floor. Inhale, lift to a vertical spine, wrap the right arm around that back. Inhale, lift the left arm over that left leg. Exhale, extend the torso over the left leg without bending at the spine or the waist. You just want to feel it in the hips. Exhale, lower the left arm down outside of that left leg. Inhale, the right arm up. Parigasana. Gaze up at the top hand or gaze at the floor or whatever is in front of you. Inhale. Spine back to neutral. Exhale. Arms down, bend the left knee and bring the left foot, the left knee under the left hip. And we're coming back onto all fours. So from here, we are going to place where the wrists are our elbows, and we're going to interlace the fingers there. We're going to tuck the toes, and then as we inhale, we lift those knees up and swing the hips back. And maintaining a micro bend in those knees, we're trying to bring the shoulders back and down, pressing strongly into the elbows and forearms. This is dolphin pose. The head should be off the floor. One big inhalation here. And as you exhale, bring the shoulders forward to be on top of your elbows. Walk the feet back, bring the feet together, and you come into a low plank. Now, if this is too much and you're shaking or your hips are just sinking and straining, bring the knees to the floor for a much lighter variation. Otherwise, stay up with me. I'm going to be breathing here, and we are going to be folding the forearms over each other. We're going to do the side version of the pose. First thing, we're going to place our weight onto the left forearm. We roll onto the outer edge of the left foot. We open the torso to the right. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, take the top arm overhead. And then inhale, we roll everything back to center. And then over to the other side. Left arm up. And this engages certainly the core muscles to support that spine. We want that spine to stay long rather than sinking and bending. Exhale, back to center. And from here we release to the floor. Gently place the pelvis onto the floor. Reach back into your feet, lengthen those legs, separate the hands and the forearms coming to be parallel from each other. And shoulders down with energy in the lower body. We're going to start to press into the forearms to find a little bit more of an arch for the spine. That arch is distributed along the length of the spine. There's energy running all the way from your feet to your shoulder blades. This is called Sphinx pose. Then we exhale to release that energy, separating the elbows, bringing the chin to the floor and the hands to be under the shoulders, separating the feet, tucking the toes, pressing onto the hands, up onto the knees. From here, we lift the knees off the floor, swing the hips back, coming onto downward facing dog. So first downward dog, we want to really start with the micro bend in the knees and then pressing strongly into the hands. We're going to do two things. One thing is bringing the shoulders down, and the other thing is trying to squeeze the abdomen towards the thighs. And only at that stage, we can start bringing one heel down at a time, and that will give a stretch to the back of the legs, one at a time. It's called walking the dog. And then from here, inhale, shoulders forward, shoulders over wrists, feet together, high plank. If you're not in agreement with this, knees on the floor. If you're in the high plank, one breath here, then the weight comes onto the left hand, rolling onto the outer edge of the left foot, opening the torso to the right, lift the right arm up. Inhale there and exhale, taking the top arm overhead. If you want more work, lift the right leg off the floor, mid-air. Your choice. Otherwise, you can have the left knee on the floor for extra support. And then inhale back to center, and we roll onto the other side. And again, your choice. Right knee can be on the floor or off the floor like this. You can lift the left leg up if you like, and you can take the top arm overhead. And you start to feel the warmth spreading across the body. There's a lot of energy running through the body and starting from the core. So you exhale back to center. And from here on exhalation, we bend the elbows, keeping them tucked in close to the torso, coming hover off the floor, Chaturanga Dandasana. One inhalation here if you can. Exhale. Release to the floor. Your hands to be under your shoulders. If not there, trying to place them right under your shoulders. Reach back into your feet, energize the legs. Press into the hands, lift. When you start to find the back arch, slow down and make sure that the back arch starts to be spread and distributed across the length of the spine. No need to come all the way up to straight arms. Keep bending the elbows if needed. This is a strong back arch, Bhujangasana. Keep your shoulders down, away from the ears, your elbows in, and the pelvis on the floor. Exhale, release. Chin to the floor. Separate your feet, tuck the toes. Press up to another downward facing dog. And just taking a bit of time to breathe and to lengthen the backs of your legs, bringing one heel down at a time. So there was a bit of core strength in the sequences. There's going to be quite a bit more to come, so hopefully this will be in agreement with you. But stay assured, there's going to be options for every pose that I propose. So if you don't feel like energizing and strengthening, you can do it lightly. All right, from here we're going to come up onto the fingertips, and your choice is to walk, step, or jump the feet in between the hands. Knees bent, and one long inhalation to unwind the spine, one vertebra at a time. And when the head comes up, the arms go up as well. Hands together. Exhale. Hands to prayer at the heart. So just taking a second here to notice the difference in your body through a rather strong core strengthening sequence. And from here we're going to proceed into a standing sequence. So I come to the middle just for demonstration. You stay around the front of your mat and make sure you have a block somewhere within reach. We might need it in a second. We start with the standing balance. It's important to have a strong core also for balancing, because balance by definition requires support. Let's balance onto the left foot. Inhale, lift the right knee up, keeping the right hip level with the left, so avoiding the temptation to lift in that right hip higher than the left. Opening that right hip, knee goes out to the side, and then we place the sole of the right foot either into the calf or with toes on the floor, or for the full tree pose, try and place the sole of the right foot up so that the heel is close to the groin. You don't want that foot to be pressing against the knee. That's the only place you don't want it to be, because that would compromise your ability to come out safely of the pose. Hence the prayer. And then you can bring that prayer overhead. And if you like, you can bring the arms to a V shape, engage in Chin Mudra as well, thumbs and index fingers together. And watch the effect of the core. You might feel that that core is not doing anything, but try the difference with and without the core activation. And then as we exhale, hands to prayer at the heart, microbending that left knee. And keep that right knee up. You're gonna stay there, and I'm gonna demonstrate it from here. Arms out, inhale here. Exhale, you're going to extend the back leg behind and tip over with the torso. I hope I'm in the camera view. And this is Warrior 3, so you don't want to be opening that torso and the pelvis to the right side. It should be facing down. Left leg is straight. Microbending the left knee. And from here, we're going to step that right foot all the way back into your mat, opening the torso to the right, and the sole of the back foot comes onto the floor at a 90-degree angle with the heel to heel alignment. And this is the starting point for your Warrior 2. So we're going to lift both arms up and making sure that our spine is neutral and vertical, lunging and bringing that left knee to be tracking the left ankle, gazing over the left hand and pressing evenly and strongly into both feet. So again, here as you breathe, test the effect of having a loose core against having a strong core by applying Uddiyana Bandha to this pose. With the next inhalation, you energize, and then you exhale to bring the arms down, and you lengthen the left leg, keeping the sole of the left foot onto the floor. You're wrapping the right arm behind your back, like we did before, lifting the left arm up over the left leg, palm facing the ceiling. Inhale here, exhale. Just hinging from your left hip crease rather than bending at the spine when you cannot go any further. Exhale, bringing the left arm down outside of the left leg. Inhale, right arm up. Similar to the Parigasana we did at the start, this is the standing equivalent, and it's called triangle or extended triangle, Trikonasana. Gaze up at the top hand or at the wall in front of you. And as we inhale, we microbend that left knee, and we come back to our Warrior 2. From here, we're going to swivel onto the ball of the back foot as we bring the torso forward towards the front of the mat. Inhale, arms up, and make sure that you have a straight back leg and that left knee still tracks the left ankle. You don't want an arch in the spine, so if you're too long, you can shorten that stance a little bit, palms facing each other. Strong standing pose here. Now, if you do have a block within reach, just bring that to your left hand, and we're starting with the block in the left hand. Inhale here. As we exhale, we bring those arms forward, and we reach to the floor with the block in the left hand. It should be at about 45 degrees from the little toe. Open the torso to the right. Right arm lifts up towards the ceiling. Weight into the left leg, and you lift the right leg up. And you bring that right leg to be parallel to the floor. Left leg becomes straight. Right arm pointing up towards the ceiling. You can let go of that block if you feel stable enough. And then you microbend the left knee. Exhale to bring the right foot to be next to the left. And just with knees bent, round your spine to come down and relax. Just allowing gravity to separate your vertebrae a bit more in a safe way. And that safe way is given by keeping your knees straight. From here, we're going to inhale with knees bent to unroll the spine again, one vertebra at a time. Arms up, palms together. Exhale, stay up there. Separate the hands, and I'm going to come here. Feet are still hip width apart. Palms facing each other. Inhale there. Exhale, bend both knees. Keep them apart from each other. as you come sitting into an imaginary chair. Watch the difference of having a engaged core versus having a flaccid ab. Inhale here, and then exhale. Hands to pray the heart. Lift your heels off the floor, and you're coming to sit onto your heels. And from here, we're going to place the hands just behind us, and we are coming to sit onto the mat for a couple of sit-down sequences, all having to do with our core. So while we're here, we're going to start with Navasana, or boat pose. Probably best to demonstrate it this way. Get a hold of the front of your knees, lengthen your spine, have your feet a little bit closer to your hips. Inhale here, and as you exhale, you're going to lift one foot at a time so that you balance on your sitting bones. So for Navasana, there's a couple of different versions. If you're happy here, you can stay here. And you need to be in a version that you can endure. We're going to be practicing for a couple of variations, so a couple of minutes here. You can bring your arms strong, parallel to each other. You can lift your feet but keep a bend in the knees, or you can straighten those legs completely, gaze between the big toes. As long as you maintain a long spine, you don't want to be here with a rounded lower back that wants to take you back towards the floor. Or if you're excessively shaking, you should also move back to one of the lighter versions. So from here, I'm going to choose the version with the bent knees. We're going to practice a twist on top of the pose. So we're going to inhale, leave the left arm where it is, open the right arm to the side, and gaze over to your right, keeping that spine nice and long. And inhale back to center. Exhale, open to your left. Inhale back to center. You can choose to move to one of the lighter versions if you like. We're going to try and tip that boat to come onto the right buttock only. So that's going to be quite a challenge for the balance. A lot of stability going on, and that's really recruiting those deep abdominal muscles. Inhale back to center. Exhale over to the left buttock. We're going to go through some rough seas here with this boat. And back to center. And then from here we bend both knees a little bit more, and we tuck those first two fingers around the respective big toes. Let's leave both feet off the floor. Let's stretch the right leg first. And then let's stretch the left leg first and see how it goes. If we stretch both of them, maintaining a bend in the knees is the trick to get there. Keep the spine long. Slowly work towards straight legs. And if you can choose how wide apart you want to have those feet, the wider, the more you'll be stretching the inside of those legs, your inner thighs. And the closer they are, it's going to be more to do with the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. You can vary to bring the feet together. And then we all exhale to bring those feet on the floor, lengthening the spine. And we are in Baddha Konasana, so keeping that hold for both of the feet. The heels should not be too far from the groins. Inhale, lengthen the spine a little bit more. Exhale, release. We're going to bring the hands behind. And so the next thing is going to require some blocks perhaps. So if you have two books of similar dimension, bring them either side of your sitting bones or hips and lengthen the legs forward. So we're going to certainly recruit a lot of those core muscles now. So if you don't have the blocks, you can try with your hands or just the top part of your hands onto the floor. So the first bit requires pressing to both hands, and we're going to lift the buttocks off the floor. And then you're going to shift backwards. You're going to try to lift one foot and the other foot off the floor, and see how you go with lifting both. And release. And you can try it again, press into both hands and inhale. And release. And one more time. Inhale, lift. If you're happy here, you can just stay here or lift just one foot at a time and release. All right, so just bending the knees and bringing the soles of the feet onto the floor, moving the buttocks towards your heels and slowly coming down to a lie down position, relaxing the upper body, relaxing the arms, bringing both knees to the chest. Inhale to lift both legs up towards the ceiling, flex those ankles. You want to have a 90-degree angle between your legs and your torso. Relaxing there. If you feel that your lower back is already struggling with this, you can slide your hands under the back of the pelvis to lift up and make it a lot lighter. It's your choice. Otherwise, we're going to breathe here. With every exhalation, we lower those feet down a little bit. And then we inhale to energize. And we keep going. At some point, that lower back is going to start to struggle a bit. It normally wants to peel off the floor. And if you let it peel off the floor, it will strain. So you shouldn't go there. If you cannot keep it in contact with the floor, just go a little bit higher and pause there. Otherwise, you can even make it all the way to just hovering off the floor. And if you like to add a dynamic variation from wherever you are, just go up and down with your legs a few times. Again, completely relaxing the upper body, and this truly fully engages those core abdominal muscles. And from here, everybody brings those knees into the chest, gives them a squeeze with both hands into the abdomen, and release here for 2 breaths. This pose, Apanasana, is an amazing counter pose for a lot of that strong abdominal work. We're going to do the side of those core, just a little bit, not too long. I know you might be tiring already, so from here, without placing any of the feet on the floor, we're going to lengthen the left leg, keeping the left heel off the floor and keeping the right knee bent. We're going to bring the hands around and behind the head. The right elbow stays on the floor. We inhale here, exhale, left elbow outside of the right knee. Hold it there. And then back, swap the legs, inhale, exhale, right elbow outside of the left knee. The left foot stays close to the right knee. And back a couple of times dynamically. So we're gonna go right and left, 2, and swap, 3, and swap. We're gonna do 5, 4, swap, 5, swap, release, both knees into the chest, squeeze them in there, and feel the relief of this comfortable pose. And from here, we're gonna start rolling along the length of the spine, using first just a few vertebrae and then rolling a little bit more till we can reach onto the shoulder blades, and then rolling like a swing. See how we go. We're trying to come directly onto a standing position with the help of the hands. If we need, inhale, lift both arms up. Exhale, release. So we got a sequence to do on the other side. So let's start from the tree pose, balancing on the right foot, arms out. Inhale, lift the left knee up. Vrksasana of your choice. You can have the toes on the floor if you're not feeling energetic, or if you've got poor balance today, solo the left foot onto the calf, or solo the left foot high up. Your choice. Sometimes pants are slippery, so you might want to slide them away. Check that you're not lifting that left hip higher than the right. Just allow gravity to bring that left hip back down, opening that left hip as well. And then arms and hands variation of your choice. Important for balancing is being stable and concentrating. So concentration often requires gazing at the fixed point in the room, usually on the floor, We're concentrating on the breath. Just keep watching that breath. Sometimes that's enough, and you'll be able to stay here strongly with eyes closed. And also staying stable, so you need to work through your stabilizer muscles of the right foot, through the right leg, and also the core. That really helps rather than being sloppy there. Exhale. Hands to prayer, the heart. Bring the left knee in and lift that left knee up. Bring the arms out. Inhale. I'm going to move to the side again, and we're going to see it on the other side. So on the exhalation, we extend that left leg back and we tip forward with the torso just like a seesaw. We're going to balance the weight of the torso by lifting the left leg. We're keeping the right leg straight as much as possible, keeping the arms out, feeling a stretch in the right leg, and then we microbend the right knee, step the left foot nice and long, opening the torso to your left and placing the sole of the left foot on the floor. Bringing the shoulders to be on top of your hips and checking that that right knee tracks the right ankle, is not knocking in. Keeping this pose strong, pressing strongly into both feet and engaging the core. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2, one more inhalation here. Exhale, arms down, straighten the right leg, wrap the left arm. Inhale, lift the right arm over the right leg. Exhale, keeping the spine long, you're going to extend. And then when you reach the end of the run, exhale to bring that right arm down, lifting the left arm up. And you have a nice openness here. You want to have that top shoulder roughly over the bottom shoulder. So not adding additional movement to the spine, it's just staying nice and open as long as possible. No rounding, no twisting, no bending. And from here we microbend the right knee. Inhale to lift back into Warrior 2. Now you might need that block. If you didn't need it, you might not need it here either. Inhale here. Exhale. Oh, sorry. First we're going to do the high lunge. So we're going to turn the torso to face forward and we swivel onto the balls of the back foot. And then we inhale, scooping both arms up, keeping it strong. Keeping that back leg nice and straight, pressing strongly into the front foot. Try to avoid the back arch by lengthening the front of the left leg a little bit further. And then exhale, just hinge forward with the torso. Reach with the right hand to the 45 of the little toe, with or without the block. And then you lift the left leg up, left arm points up towards the ceiling. Works better if that right hand is off the floor, could be on the block, or just keep it off the floor. It's called Ardha Chandrasana, or half moon. Microbending the right knee, and slowly bringing the left foot next to the right. Both knees bent, and melting down. Inhale to unwind the spine with knees bent, slowly lower, middle, upper back coming up, the neck and the head, and then the arms up to the ceiling, hands together. Exhale, hands to prayer, the heart. Finding ourselves back in Tadasana. And from here we are going to simply separate the feet to be mat width apart, 45 degrees, pointing outwards, hands to prayer, the heart. Inhale here, and exhale, we're going to come down into a squat. So squatting with the long spine, and try and find those inner thighs with your elbows, gently pressing, not strongly. And just lifting through the arches of the feet into this pose called Malasana. Just nicely opening for those hips and strengthening for those legs. Watch here also the difference between doing it with the soft belly as opposed to engaging the Uddiyana Bandha, the deep abdominal muscles there. And then we release, hands to the floor, and we just bring the knees onto the floor. And I'm going to demonstrate it on this side. So one last strong core pose here. So we're going to have those knees mat width apart. We're going to sit onto the heels to start with. So we're going to try this pose called peacock, also known as Mayurasana. It's very strong for the core, but there's a level that should be suitable for everyone. So just stick to the level that you can reach today. So first thing is reversing the hands so that you can place the palms in between the knees so that there's alignment between your wrist and the knees. There's a hand gap between the two hands. Spreading the fingers, and then from bending those elbows, place them either side of the belly button. And now it's gonna get a little bit stronger. You're gonna place the crown of the head onto the floor. Should be suitable for most. This is where it gets stronger. You're gonna step one foot at a time, far behind, feet together, and then lift the head off the floor. If you have shifted your weight forward, you should be able then to bring those knees off the floor and move into a back arch. And back down. Crown of the head, bending the knees, toes together, and just lifting up to be seated onto your heels one more time, giving some rotations to your wrists as we place a little bit weight there, so you might need that rotation either direction, a couple of flexions and extensions for both wrists. We finish off with a couple of complete surrendering poses. So we've done plenty of work, and now let's just surrender. It's a little bit of stretching, but without changing the position of your knees. Place your hands forward and perhaps take the knees a little wider apart from each other. So you might want to be sideways on your mat so that you keeping those knees onto something soft. And then we separate the feet so that those shins become parallel to each other. You can bring them even further apart from each other. So all you want here is to maintain that alignment between your hips and your knees. So do not bring your hips forward. Try to press them back. And then from here, inhale. Exhale to just melt down, bringing your forearms onto the floor. Maybe make double fists and rest your forehead onto those double fists. If you like, you can just melt even further, forehead onto the floor, and reaching forward with your arms, as long as those hips don't come forward with you. And at this point, there's not much you can do. It's just about surrendering. And if it's painful, you need to come back up and bring those knees closer to each other and just enjoy for a couple of breaths. It's a well-deserved, feel-good pose, and it should feel good. All these yoga stretches are really meant to feel good. If they don't feel good, it's because you're going beyond where you should be practicing. So just finding that sweet spot is of essence for you to gain the most out of your practice of yoga. And as we inhale, we lift the gaze up, press onto those forearms, hands on the floor, walking the hands back in towards the torso. And then first thing, you need to bring the toes towards each other, and then the knees towards each other, and a little bit more, a little bit more. We now finish as we started in Varasana. So it's recommended to just move the calf flesh out of the way so that you can descend a little bit better towards the floor and just rest in there. You want to have that spine long, extended rather than rounded. So if you can't have that long extended shape of the spine, it's important that you use a block to lift up, just like we did at the start. Now we're a little bit warmer, so you might be able to better do this pose from without the block. Couple of shoulder stretches here. We're going to place that left hand behind the back and walk it up the spine. till it comes in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, bring the right arm up, and then bending the right elbow and allowing those two hands to meet and lock up. As long as that right upper arm is still pointing straight up, going past your right ear. And if you can't reach, you can use a belt of any kind to help you with the link in those two hands. And just breathe in here. And then release. And why don't I demonstrate it this way so that it's a little bit more visible. Just inhale to work that right hand up the spine. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, bend the left elbow. And just allow for those shoulders to stretch without adding any twisting. So the torso is still facing forward, the shoulders are still in their natural place. And release. And then from here, if you got the flexibility, we're gonna do reverse prayer. Otherwise, just interlace the fingers behind and stretch those arms back. And if you wanna do reverse prayer, make sure you start from the middle fingers and then allowing those palms to find each other and fold over each other, and then we walk them up the spine and then bring those elbows back and breathe. Exhale, and we release here. So we're gonna need to loosen up a little bit after that pause. So we're going to walk the hands forward, press into the hands, tuck the toes under, and move into one last downward dog. And from here we're going to walk the dog, bringing one heel down at a time, just loosening up. And then from here, the knees come onto the floor. We cross the ankles behind and come to a seated position. We're done with asanas. So from here, we're going to simply lie down, finding comfort for a few minutes of guided relaxation, the practice of yoga nidra. So it's essential that you find a very comfortable lie down position so that you don't need to readjust any further. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. So as a start, just simply relax and let go, and just do those micro adjustments as needed for the shoulders, for your feet. If you have something soft to place under your knees, that would be ideal. And just readjust your neck. And just slowly let go as you start to slow down your mind and just bring it to follow your breath. Just watching your breath as you are breathing softly and letting go. So this is called the pose of the corpse. It's another yoga pose, but there's nothing really muscular to do here. There's no stretching for any muscle or opening of any joints. This is really got to do with bringing the body to a still and just enjoy the relaxation that comes with it. And then bringing the mind under control is the other aspect of it, because if your mind is just traveling elsewhere, you'll just miss out on the opportunity that this pose gives you. So just as you're watching the breath and you slow it down, slowing down your mind, all your other thoughts and all the external world becomes less relevant, less important. And you're just going to sink here as with every breath you become a little bit heavier and you feel heavier. So you can direct every exhalation to a different part of the body. We're gonna start from our feet, up through the shins and calves and the knees. And as you exhale into those parts, those body parts are going to become heavier and more relaxed. Moving up onto the hamstrings and thighs, relaxing your hips. Your spine stops holding any tension from your lower back to the middle back to the upper back. Your core that you use so much today is completely soft. You're in a safe space, there's no one is going to come and step on you. So just let it be soft. Soften your shoulders, your arms are heavy, your head is heavy. Losing any facial expression that might be left on you. Allowing your eyelids to softly cover the pools of your eyes. And just enjoy this state of complete relaxation, but keeping the mind under control by keeping it softly on the breath. Just watching your body breathing, visualizing the air flowing in and out of the nostrils, through the throat, onto your lungs. Watch your belly rise and fall with the eye of your mind. If other thoughts come and grab your mind, rather than fighting with them, just be aware that your mind was stolen and just gently guide it back to your breath. And now just maintaining that introspective, relaxed mode for the mind. We're just going to move from this concentration onto the breath towards a little bit of guided meditation. But for that we'll need to move up to a seated position, so we need to reactivate the body first. So wiggle fingers and toes. Rediscover your neck. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms overhead if you like. Bring both knees into the chest, give them a squeeze, feel the relief for your core and for your lower back. Draw some circles to massage that lower back. Draw the other direction. And then from here, feet on the floor, arms on the side, rolling onto one side into recovery. And at your own pace, you're going to make your way back to a seated position. And when we're sitting, it's important to be comfortable. And if it's not comfortable for you to be seated cross-legged without support, just do use support, like sitting on a block or sitting on a cushion or against the wall, because you really just want to be comfortable here. And we're going to move to the practice of kirtan or mantra meditation. So this is a call and response, and it consists of the chanting of a mantra, a sound that keeps your mind away from other thoughts. So we're going to try with the mantra Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Feel free to join in from the comfort of your homes whenever you feel comfortable with this. Haribol, Nitai Gaur, turn. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur. Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. One more together. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Namaste, and see you next time.